Technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers is transformational. And that, I believe, is a quotation that every 21st century teacher should follow. Because as we become catalysts of change, we need to seek out different technologies that would really enhance the teaching learning experience. One of the many ways on how we can convert our classrooms into a 21st century global classroom is through the use of different ICT tools. Since ICT integration is all about the ease of processing information, here's an example on how we can make it interesting. Have you seen this sort of code before? I think that especially in the time of pandemic, this has been really prevalent, especially when you are trying to go into an establishment and you need to scan this particular code. Well, this is called a QR code. A QR code is short for quick response code. Basically, it's similar to how a barcode functions, but it stores much more data compared to a barcode which only contains prices and numbers. So the QR code was originally made in 1994 for the automobile industry, but it expanded because of its popularity and ease of use. Now it is popular among consumer products, and you can see it in many popular brands. The QR code was developed by Denso Wave in 1994 in Japan, and it quickly expanded to the world. And now you can see this almost everywhere. All you need to have is a camera or a phone with a camera, and then you need to scan a particular code. You might be brought to a website, to an image or text. That will vary on the different types of QR codes that you will scan. What's also interesting is that aside from being easy to use, it is also really easy to make your own. Now, there are also a ton of websites that offer free services on creating QR codes, but if you want larger size data, or say a picture or a video built into a code directly, I think you will need a subscription service for that. But for the most part, since you are just trying to use it for small texts or small pieces of data, or just websites which will redirect your students to an information, then you can just simply use the free services that are already available. To create your own QR code, you just need to, of course, keep in mind what sort of information you want your scanner or reader to see, be it a website or a link to a website, a file or a text. Then all you need to do is find the website that would encode all of that data into a QR code, and then what that website is going to do is to create your own custom QR code, which you will save into a picture format, either a JPEG or a PNG format or a bitmap format that you can paste on any surface or in any product that you want. Before you paste your QR codes everywhere, you need to test it first though. Again, you just need to reverse the process and again scan the QR code that you just made in order for you to test whether or not the QR code is functioning. QR codes can also be integrated into instruction. In fact, you can have several ways on how you can make QR codes make instruction interesting. Not just in instruction though, even other areas in schools can also make use of the QR codes. Here are several ways on how you can make QR codes, and number one is to create interactive and engaging content. You can enrich the content you teach in your classroom by employing QR codes to link to other resources such as links, websites, PDFs, text, that you want your students to obtain. Second is that you can allow your students to share their resources, and you can also allow yourself to share resources to your students. Learners can use QR codes to share educational resources with each other, such as the lecture notes, web content, and how to do videos. And for the third one, I think this is a little bit interesting, is the use of QR codes in scavenger hunts. Now, you can paste up QR codes in different areas of the school, and each of these QR codes will serve as a set of instruction, more like a station where the students need to do a specific task. And when they're done with the specific task, they can scan the QR code and then proceed to the next station, which they again repeat the process until they accomplish the last one. Now, it would provide instructions and directions on how the students can accomplish one giant scavenging hunt. In classroom activities, aside from the scavenging hunt, you can always use this as sort of like an instructional material for, specific instructions that you want your students to do, specific tasks that will really enrich the classroom instruction. Example is that instead of providing them with thick copies of printed materials, you can just provide them with a QR code which they can readily scan, which will then again redirect them to a specific web page, a resource material, or any multimedia that you want your students to again obtain. QR codes can also be very helpful in gathering students' feedback. You can create surveys, polls, and other forms using Google Forms or other services that you already know, and then you can transform the links to a QR code and then let your students scan the QR code to redirect them to that form. QR codes can also be used to provide help with homeworks. A detailed instruction can be made into a QR code which students can scan at home and use the information to help them comply with their assignments. And lastly, QR codes can be used to communicate with the parents or the partners of the students. You can share information to parents on school events or activities in school. You can also put in the webpage for parents to get information, or include it in the newsletters, permission slips, etc. You can have them printed as magnets as well, and parents can get the information that you want them to have. However, be sure to orient the parents on how to scan and use the QR codes in order for them to maximize this technology. The QR code scanner that I prefer to use is the Google Lens, because it redirects me to the websites or the information very quickly compared to other services that I have tried. And this one is made originally by Google, so it uses the Google search function, and it has a ton of information that it can retrieve. So again, other smartphones, I believe, already have QR code scanners built in. You only need to tap the shutter button and it has already read a QR code. And what it does is QR code, and it's a text. And what the text contains are the following. So what does a QR code mean? A quick reply, quiet reading, quick response, or queer reply? Well, the answer is, of course, it is the quick response. So that demo is representative of the potential of the QR codes. You can use it in assessment, motivation, even during the instruction phase itself, and as well as providing your students with unnecessary resources without being reliant to very heavy books and thick papers that could be, uncomfortable to carry around. QR codes is just one square image that you can just pass around digitally. You don't even need to print it out, and it's easy for the students to retrieve the information, decode the information, and it's also easy for both the teachers and the learners to encode the necessary information that they want to give to other people. The use of ICT tools can provide a lot of possibilities on how learners can learn something that they want to know. It has also made it possible for teachers to easily communicate, disseminate, and manage information that they want their learners to understand. Of course, going into the future, the possibility is endless, and that is the beauty of ICT and the digital age. What teachers need to do now is to select from the array of ICT tools that are readily available and then use what they think is best for their learners. So that in order for us to expand our horizons and make sure that our classrooms are ones that are built for the 21st century.